afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the celebration of the graduates of the Global Poverty and Practice Minor, the class of 2026. My name is Ilora Shehabuddin. I am Professor of Gender and Women's Studies and Global Studies at UC Berkeley, and I'm pleased to serve as the chair of the Global Poverty and Practice Minor. I'd like to begin by taking a moment to recognize the parents, families, and loved ones. Graduates, I invite you to turn around, to get up, turn around, and give a round of applause to your loved ones here with you today. You, the graduating class of 2026, represent the 19th graduating class of the GPP minor. This year's graduates include over 30 students from 18 different majors. Over the last few years, all of you have become participants in debates about global poverty and inequality, about philosophies of global justice, and about the ethics of global citizenship. And you have learned to analyze contemporary social, economic, and environmental problems in light of these debates. Through your coursework and your practice experience, you have learned about the field of poverty action, but also how to think critically about relations of power involved in addressing urgent problems. You have learned, for example, to critically assess the strengths and limitations of ongoing efforts by key institutions and actors, from the World Bank to global social movements, from national and social governments to NGOs, from multinational corporations to philanthropic foundations. The global perspective of this minor has helped you think about the inextricable connections between structures of inequality in the global North and the global South. You have learned that poverty and inequality isn't something that just happens over there, but that we are all connected in a fundamental way, that our daily practices here as voters, consumers, and activists have repercussions around the world. Your class has learned and reflected on all this in a very particular historical moment, against the backdrop of so-called natural disasters, usually brought on by climate change, as well as war and conflict in Russia and Ukraine, in Sudan, Syria, Myanmar, and South Asia, for example. Your sophomore year saw the start of the world's first live-streamed genocide, an all-out scholasticide, the destruction of every single university, and the killing of thousands of staff, students, and faculty carried out by the Israeli state in Gaza. Your sophomore year also, at the same time, saw the largest mobilization of university students across the US in recent decades, and on several campuses, their violent suppression. You are graduating at a time when academic freedom and federal funding for all kinds of academic research is under attack, even as this country is spending billions attacking schools, universities, towns, cities, and of course, children and adults thousands of miles away, not only in Gaza, but also Iran and Lebanon. In every case, you have learned to read and think beyond the headlines of mainstream media, to consider the histories of these conflicts and the power dynamics that shape them, to center the history of the human beings affected, and to explore interventions that can support the most vulnerable, both in the short term and the long term. You did all this as you worked to construct your own beautiful visions of a world where everyone lives with equality and justice. Today, we celebrate and honor the hard work students have put into this program and the dedication, courage, and compassion they've applied in tackling issues of poverty and inequality. Friends and families, I hope you'll read about the incredible range of work GPP students focused on in the graduation programs you have with you. We have, right? Forgot to check. As champions for social justice, these GPP graduates represent the best of UC Berkeley and inspire all of us. Again. There are several members of the GPP minor community whom I would like to thank. None of this would be possible without the dedicated work of our core faculty and leadership. Please join me in thanking, starting from the far left, Dr. Ross Dahl, who teaches He teaches our large introductory lecture course based on, course on global poverty, and also a course on poverty resources and the environment, and on development and transformation in Asia. Next, here, Dr. Khaled Kadir, who teaches our capstone reflection course, as well as courses on political economy, environmental justice, and engineering. In the middle, we have Dr. Claire Talwalkar, who teaches our ethics and methods course for the minor, as well as global studies and political economy courses. I also want to thank the Blum Center staff who make possible the work of this minor and several other programs to enrich students' engagement with social change, such as the graduate programs in development engineering and the Big Ideas Innovation Competition. I thank the staff of the Blum Center for their leadership and support in carrying out all these important programs, with a special thank you to Chetan Chaudhry, our Director of Student Programs in the back, whom you all know. We are also incredibly grateful for all of the work of the GPP minor peer advisors. Peer advisors are students who, after having completed the requirements of the minor, serve as mentors and advisors to their fellow GPP students. Their leadership in this program has shaped the experience of all our graduates here today. I ask the peer advisors to stand as I call your name. The graduating peer advisors are Derek Carver, Olivia D'Antoni, Shalini Parekh, Sarah Risen, and Ria Arul. I also want to recognize Yesenia Casillas Rios, Yesenia has served as a student fellow at the Blum Center for the past 3 years. So, now it's my great pleasure to invite Khaled Kadir to introduce our student speakers. Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Super grateful to have the honor to introduce these speakers today. I've been blessed to share the classroom with all of them, and I can personally attest how incredible they are as students, as people, and as members of our community. First, a quick side note. Yes, indeed, we do have 3 student speakers. Now, I'm sure you went to many commencements and you got a little tired and you started yawning because most of them are boring, not like this one. We're doing this on purpose, and part of is what makes this program so great is the extent to which we are actually student-centered. We don't just talk about it, we actually do it. The last 2 courses in our program are relatively small, and we're heavily oriented towards building community and uplifting student voices in those courses. It's really different from much of what happens on campus where people often feel like a number more than a person. So we do something special here in GBP, and we wanted to honor that in our ceremony today and hear from our students and alum themselves. So I'll briefly introduce all 3 of them, and then they can one at a time come up and share their thoughts with us. So first, we'll have Julia Finch, majoring in political economy. Julia's practice experience was in Santiago, Chile, where she supported migrants through research, event coordination, and legal policy analysis. Her responsibilities ranged from administrative tasks to organizing an international migration conference to completing 2 major research projects. The first analyzed Chile's migration and refugee policies since 2022, focusing on the implementations and shortcomings of a Chilean law. The second was a comparative study of migration and regularization practices in Chile, Portugal, Canada, Mexico, and Spain. After graduating, Julia is going to be entering the Peace Corps for her next practice experience. She's going to be heading to Colombia, where she'll focus on community economic development. In class, as those of you who were in class with us, Julia always held me accountable. That must have been mom. Anyone who knows her is not going to be surprised by this. She never let me get lazy. She made it clear that I was very precise and clear with my own words and their meanings, but she did it with graciousness and with a smile and with an incredible generosity, and our class was much better for it. Our second speaker today will be Shalini Parikh. One of our esteemed peer advisors, Shalini majored in interdisciplinary studies. She wrote a thesis titled Understanding Healthcare Access in Sub-Saharan Africa, the Interplay of Freedom, Governance, Infrastructure, and Resources. Her study explores multiple dimensions of freedom and governance as predictors of healthcare across 34 different countries in sub-Saharan Africa. For her practice experience, she traveled to Cusco, Peru to take part in human rights and health equity work. During her time in Peru, Shalini worked on two core projects. The first was a girls' orphanage, where she and another intern raised funds and coordinated the provision of hygiene items, as well as organized regular health checkups for the girls living in the orphanage. In her second project, she worked directly with a community health worker who worked for the Department of Social Inclusion under the Ministry of Health. As part of this, she supported pop-up clinics in rural communities. She helped to test water to ensure adequate chlorine levels and attended agricultural workshops to help local farmers sell their products. After graduating, Shalini will be spending the summer backpacking through Asia and then plans to start her career in global health. Perhaps as a result of Shalini's own multicultural background, in class, she was always able to see problems from multiples, at times contradictory perspectives, and to be able to hold those different perspectives at the same time and balance the need for rigorous critique with also the need to support and encourage people to be engaged and active. And our final student speaker will be Madison Moore. Before transferring to Berkeley to major in psychology, Madison attended Santa Rosa Junior College, where she earned an associate's degree in psychology. Once transferring, she found a joy in learning all about biological psychology and, of course, about global poverty. Madison has been fascinated with all the systems that have put into place to maintain poverty. For her practice experience, she volunteered at the Women's Daytime Drop-In Center here in Berkeley, where she supported women who have suffered from domestic violence. And she dreams of a place where they can come to heal and feel safe. Following graduation, she hopes to combine her passion to dismantle global poverty together with psychology to create a shelter on a farm for people who are escaping domestic violence. Madison brought something unique and special to our capstone course this semester. I really wanted to embarrass you, but I'm going to hold myself back. I was going to tease you. Though through all of our rigorous critique, our efforts to think upstream to the root causes of the problems whose symptoms we often witness, and our struggles to figure out how to bring our motivations forward into our personal and professional lives, Madison helped ground us in our spiritual selves. She helped us to remember that the world is more than what lives in our imaginations, and even when we may feel helpless and ineffective, that brighter things often come from places we never imagined. Thank you for that, Madison. So with that, Julia.
Hi, my name is Julia, and hi, I'm basically your quintessential Berkeley stereotype. Girl goes to Cal, dyes and cuts off all of her hair, and studies the wokest thing she can think of, global poverty in practice. It's a stereotype that I'm proud of, and honestly something that I share in common with a lot of my peers here at Cal. Something else that I share in common with my peers that I'm less keen to embrace is belonging to what people call Generation Dread. I'm sure we have all identified with this moniker for Gen Z at one point or another. It'd be impossible not to. Climate change, war, and whatever is going on in the US government, that's all some pretty dreadful stuff. Being part of this Generation Dread has made me question, why even study global poverty if the world sucks so much and it's just getting worse? I struggle with this question a lot. I especially struggle with it because, as anyone who knows me will tell you, I'm a very black and white, all or nothing type of person. Like, I can be a bit extreme. The other day, for example, my roommate, she's right over there, walked in on me baking 50 muffins. But go big or go home, right? When it comes to global poverty, I can also get really stuck in that extreme binary mindset. I get scared that my actions won't be enough to make any difference. And that's when the dread kicks in. If I can't solve global poverty, why even try? If I can't do it all, should I just do nothing? GPP has taught me to escape the black and white and to embrace the gray areas. You don't have to do everything, but you can do something. In one of my seminar classes, we did a reading about the importance of integrating small bits of activism into our everyday lives. Even though we can't all quit our jobs and start working at NGOs, social action work is accessible to everybody. This reading and the discussion we had about it afterwards really made me think about how the key to avoid dread and keep fighting, even when everything seems so bleak, is to embrace the gray areas and to focus on everyday little actions. Put simply, small things make a big difference. I want to end my little speech here with a story that an old teacher once told me. A young girl was once walking along a beach with thousands of starfish that had been washed up during a terrible storm. When she came to each starfish, she would pick it up and throw it back into the ocean. People watched her with amusement. She'd been doing this for some time when a man approached her and said, "Little girl, why are you doing this? Look at this beach. You can't save all of these starfish. You can't even begin to make a difference." The girl seemed crushed, suddenly deflated. But after a few moments, she bent down, picked up another starfish, and hurled it as far as she could into the ocean. Then she looked up at the man and replied, "Well, I made a difference for that one." The starfish mentality of the girl in that story has been the biggest gift that my 4 years at Cal and the GPP minor has given me to take forward into my post-grad life. As you all heard, next year I'm moving to Columbia and joining the Peace Corps. And I can promise you that I am not going to completely solve poverty when I'm down there. But I am hoping that I will make at least one difference in the life of one person. And that, I believe, is the answer to the dreadful question, why study global poverty if the world sucks so much? We study global poverty to learn how to make small differences, even if it's just for one starfish. And while I'm up here, I just want to say thank you to all my professors and all of my peers here. GPP has been one of the best parts of my time here at Cal. And then also I just want to say thank you to my family, Dad, Nana, Sam, Mom, and then all of my best friends for coming here. I have such a squad, Dasha, Tom, Sarah, Zoe, and Oscar. I really appreciate you guys and love you so much. I'm really proud of us all. That's it.
Thank you, Professor Kadir, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone, and congratulations, class of 2026. My name is Shalini Parikh, and I'm honored to be speaking today. I'd like to begin by thanking everyone here for supporting us, our families, friends, faculty, staff, and peers. You all made it possible for us to grow and thrive during our time at Cal. I want to thank my family who have traveled from all over to be here. Thank you to my mom, my aunt, my siblings, Kira, Nina, and Priya, for your continuous support and encouragement. Thank you, Ba and Bapuji, for always prioritizing education and teaching us the value of learning from a young age. And a special thank you to my dad for encouraging me to attend Berkeley and for convincing me that I was capable of succeeding here. Today marks the end of our undergraduate journey with the Global Poverty and Practice minor, or GPP, but it's really the beginning of how we'll carry this perspective forward. I want to share a little bit about my own journey to GPP. Coming to Berkeley, I was honestly overwhelmed. I was the only one from my high school here and one of the few from my entire state. I knew I wanted to find community, but also something that felt truly meaningful. Like many of us, I started to connect with other students through clubs and sports, but I felt like something was missing academically. During my sophomore year, I felt uninterested and unfulfilled in some of the classes I was taking. I recognized that I needed to switch from my major that I originally intended to pursue. So one evening, I called my dad, who suggested we do an in-depth search of every single major and minor offered at UC Berkeley. That's where I discovered the GPP minor, and I knew I had to make it work. Whether you all entered freshman year knowing you wanted to pursue the minor or found it later like I did, I don't think many of us expected to find a small, close-knit community at a university with over 30,000 undergraduates. And I think many of us came in with a similar assumption. We would learn about some policy changes or how to improve resource distribution to impoverished areas. The solution seemed somewhat straightforward. If we can improve access to education or stimulate the economy, outcomes will improve. Well, GPP complicated that pretty quickly. We learned that programs, funding, and infrastructure do not necessarily mean change. Professors Dahl, Talwalkar, and Kadir challenged us to look beyond what's easy to measure and instead focus on trust, power, and roles in society. We learned theories of development, the history of poverty, the importance of hope, and most importantly, that everything is political. With careful preparation and understanding, we went on to our practice experiences. Some of us worked with community gardens in the East Bay or nonprofits in courthouses in San Francisco. Other students ventured far and wide to the Philippines, Morocco, Guatemala, Ghana, and many other countries. Last summer, I had the opportunity to work in Cusco, Peru, supporting rural health outreach efforts. What surprised me the most was the complexity of everything in practice. Some of the medical brigades I was lucky enough to witness and be involved with only happened a few times per year. Some of the community health workers explained that the main attendees were often women and children, as many men couldn't afford to miss a day of work. As a result, the staff couldn't report specific conditions, concerns, or disparities faced by those who could not attend, and a problem became apparent. Certain populations became excluded from the health data. I began to wonder how an issue like this is approached, and who is responsible for solving this problem. During some downtime at one of these pop-up clinics, I pulled out one of my books by Paul Farmer and began to read. I was quickly approached by the primary community health worker I worked alongside, Zuli. She noticed the author and began expressing her familiarity with Dr. Farmer's work and her praise for his approach to health disparities. I was brought back to discussions of Farmer's readings in our classes and the various conversations Hazel and I had about him outside of class. This instance was one of many during my practice experience that gave me hope. Hope that the work of others continues to inspire change. Hope that there are determined individuals who can think of creative solutions to these complex problems. And hope that people with different experiences and strengths can work together to tackle these questions. I've watched myself and my classmates evolve over the semesters to think differently about issues on our campus and in this world. Many of us have felt like we connected with other GPP students on a deeper level after having completed a practice experience. I remember discussions in our capstone class, 196, about how some of us felt like we couldn't relate to the students outside of the minor in the same way we could relate to each other. Berkeley is a special place, and GPP has highlighted that. This minor is unique in its ability to attract a diverse set of individuals, people of all majors, backgrounds, and interests. I've met people who want to target social inequalities through business, law, medicine, social work, education, and more. I've met people who have returned to school years later to explore a new path. Just weeks ago, one of my best friends, Chelsea, who I've known for my entire 4 years here at Berkeley, surprised me with a simple action. I think this anecdote embodies a unique quality of many Berkeley students, one that I've seen time and time again. We were both anxious and stressed about our upcoming finals. However, she had been on the phone for multiple hours with her father translating documents. I was amazed by her patience and willingness to help. This reminded me of how so many students at Berkeley have unique obstacles, but leverage them as strengths rather than weaknesses. It is rare and special to possess that amount of patience, but the ability to remain patient in stressful situations is impressive. She's never talked about being a first-generation student as a barrier, but instead as an opportunity to connect with people on a deeper level and to examine education with a different lens. That attitude and perseverance is something I've seen in many of you. Despite our shared experience in the minor, not all of us will have similar pursuits. Some of us may go into social justice work, and others will pursue entirely different careers and goals. However, regardless of the paths we take, I'm confident that our learning and experiences through GPP will shape how we act and speak in our personal lives as well. I've had the pleasure of working as one of the peer advisors this year. It's been awesome to work alongside Chayton, who has served as a great mentor for all of the peer advisors. One project that has stood out to me was our establishment of the Global Poverty in Practice Student Association. We created this in an effort to engage students outside of the minor to discuss issues of poverty alleviation and global issues. Very on brand for the minor to get all kinds of people and perspectives involved. This advising role has allowed me to work closely with the faculty in the Blum Center, who've been incredibly supportive both academically and personally. It has also been inspiring to talk to incoming students and underclassmen about their interest in the minor. As we move forward, I hope we continue to stay aware of what affects those around us, especially communities we may not identify with, and continue to show up with curiosity and solidarity. With that, to everyone graduating, congratulations. It's been really meaningful to be part of this program with people who are thoughtful, critical, and willing to engage in difficult conversations. I'm excited to see what we all do next. Thank you.
this was going to be a surprise for my family. And right before I got out of the car, my sister looks at me and she goes, "Are you giving a speech?" And I was like, no, I am not giving a speech. Surprise. Before I start, I want to give a big thank you to all of the students for being my community once a week for the past 2 years. And I want to thank the GPP faculty and staff who helped develop my critical thinking, which made this speech possible. A couple weeks ago, I was telling the class that when I first came to Berkeley, I was pondering the importance of the role Berkeley would play in my life path. The answer I came to was that who I am, who we are, is more important than anything Berkeley could ever give us. In 1964, students protested when the university restricted students' rights to free speech and political activity on campus. For this reason, Berkeley is often known around the world as one of the most liberal places to be educated and live. However, once we come here, there are so many things the university does to contradict the views we have of Berkeley. For example, when Berkeley handed over the names of 160 students and faculty to the Trump administration for pro-Palestinian speech, directly contradicting what is written on a UC Berkeley site titled Free Speech. They state, "Free speech is indispensable to our society and is one of UC Berkeley's most cherished values. It is both part of our legacy as the home of the free speech movement as well as central to our academic mission." As we have learned in GPP, Berkeley is not the only institution that has contradicting views. Fortunately, we just went through a massive institution, so we know how it works. We get so caught up in everything we have to do to fit into the institution that exists that we forget to ask if this is an institution we even want to subscribe to. Because these institutions have normalized hustle culture, sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, food insecurity, homelessness, violence, war, we are constantly putting out fires that distract us from asking the difficult questions. But when we do ask those questions, when we stop to think, to speak in community, when we stop subscribing to things the way they are, we stop giving our power to those institutions. For the friends and family in the audience, like Professor Kadir told us, find community at work, volunteering, in your neighborhood, at the gym. All you need is a couple hours a week to speak about what isn't working, what should not be normalized, what resources they need to make their lives better. Are their physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual needs being stimulated and nourished? For GPP students, over the past 2 years, we have created our own community. We share similar knowledge of why and how poverty exists. Keep nurturing our community. We stand stronger together than we do apart. Keep checking in, keep sending book recommendations, keep asking each other questions, and ask each other to show up to take bold action that alone may terrify us. We have only been speaking together for 2 years. Imagine what we could do with 10 more. We can make incredible changes. When we find a community that gets noisy enough, the institutions will listen to us. It was UC Berkeley students who earned themselves the right to free speech, not UC Berkeley administration who merely handed it over to them even though they market it that way. Instances like these act as reminders that it is us who hold the power in society and give it to the institutions, even if sometimes we feel powerless. So as we leave one institution, likely for another, remember that we legitimize the power of those institutions through acquiescence. and remember that profound changes have been made through revolutionary acts. We have the power to destroy, to revolt, however challenging it may seem, and remake the world into something new. It has been done time and again, so use our power to unbreak it and make a new world.
Thank you so much to our student speakers. My name is Chetan Chowdhury. I'm the Director of Student Programs, and I'm pleased to now have us move on to the portion of our program where all the graduates will be recognized on stage. We've asked all our graduates to submit to us what we call a GPP inspiration statement, something that inspired them, something that they hope for, something that they'll miss, something they learned in the program. And so we are going to have each of the graduates recognize each other by reading their name and their statement. So we'll have the graduates begin to start lining up over here, and our Blum Center staff will help guide you. Once you're in line, please hand your statement card to the person behind you who will read it. And then once your statement is starting to be read, please walk across the stage. You'll receive your certificate from Professor Shahabuddin, and you'll also be recognized by our GPP instructors.
Who reads the first one?
The last one. Yeah. All right, we'll begin in just a moment.
Julia completed her practice experience with Servicio Jesuita a Migrantes in Chile, where she supported migrant rights through research, event coordination, and legal policy analysis, ultimately authoring 2 major research projects. After GPP, she will think about her positionality everywhere that she stands, whether she's traveling around South America or in a Berkeley classroom. That's her biggest takeaway, understanding the significance of who she is in relation to where she is.
Shalini Parikh. Shalini completed her practice experience with the Ministry of Health in Cusco, Peru, collaborating with community health workers to run medical brigades, assess water quality in rural communities, and educate youth on preventive health. GPP has inspired her to listen more deeply and recognize that liberation must include both the oppressed and the oppressor.
Madison Ann Moore. Madison completed her practice experience addressing food insecurity and homelessness in Berkeley, California. She has come to understand that effectively addressing poverty requires focusing on its underlying roots causes rather than merely treating its symptoms. The clearest sign that root causes are being confronted is if you are in direct opposition to those in power.
Gary Lamont Faison. Gary served as an intern for the California Public Interest Research Group, addressing oceanic ecological degradation and poverty alleviation in the Bay Area. From the classroom to the Hill, he is committed to a career in policy to fight global poverty at its roots. GPP taught him that advocacy is a lifelong practice. He hopes to be a voice for systemic change in DC, carrying our shared mission with him. He would like to congratulate all his peers. He says, "Let's go out and change the world from the inside out."
Sarah Marissa Risen. Sarah completed her practice experience at the Women's Cancer Resource Center in Berkeley, where she addressed the financial and practical needs of women with cancer experiencing poverty while building community dignity, and patient empowerment. Through GPP, she witnessed and learned how social determinants and structural barriers shape access to medical care. She hopes for a future where healthcare is free, equitable, and honors holistic well-being, not reduced to the limits of biomedical gaze.
Claire Thompson. Claire completed her practice experience in Los Angeles, working on a research team measuring environmental and community health outcomes from Eden and the Palisade wildfires. Being a part of the GPP community has been such an inspiring and important part of her undergrad experience. It has given her a sense of purpose and drive and reminded her why justice must be at the center of everything she does.
Van Hankey. Van volunteered with the Free Clinic of Simi Valley, providing free medical care to the uninsured and underinsured individuals in Los Angeles. GPP changed her perspective on the world and introduced her to so many new ideas and people. She hopes to carry their enthusiasm and sense of purpose with her into the future.
Corinna Verony Rawls. Corinna completed her practice experience as part of LA Forward Institute's Climate Justice team, where she conducted policy research and advanced solutions supporting a just transition for all Angelenos and Los Angeles County residents. She will miss the close-knit classroom environment of GPP courses and the many meaningful discussions they fostered. She has always valued the thoughtful conversations that emerged from such an intimate learning setting and will look back on them fondly.
Ria Shri Arul. Ria completed her practice experience as an intern for Agua para la Vida, where she helped raise money for safer and more effective water infrastructure in rural villages of Nicaragua. GPP has taught her that poverty is not an inevitable condition, but the product of social structures and historical marginalization. She is committed to leveraging those same systems to advocate for and expand access to resources for marginalized communities.
Leela Amaya Venkatesan. Leela volunteered at the Women's Daytime Drop-In Center in Berkeley, serving the unhoused community and low-income women and families impacted by food and housing insecurity. She is inspired to stay engaged in critical analysis of structural inequalities while continuing to take concrete actions towards poverty alleviation.
Hazel Ann Warner. Hazel completed her GPP practice experience as a front desk and tenant services volunteer with Solid Ground, an anti-poverty organization in Seattle, Washington that provides housing, benefits, food access, and educational programs. Leaving GPP, she will carry the critical lessons she's learned about structural intervention, collaboration, and advocacy into her professional work and her role as a community member. She will remember that she has the ability to respond to injustices and that she can and will work with communities to create tangible change.
Olivia D'Antoni. Olivia served as a patient navigator at the Women's Cancer Resource Center, where she provided Spanish-English interpretation to support Latino women with cancer in accessing transportation, nutrition programs, and financial assistance. Her path in medicine will mean facing challenges within healthcare systems where clinical efficiency can take precedence over patient advocacy. However, she will remain grounded in the lessons of GPP to pair critical reflection with action by speaking up when it is uncomfortable and to center patient dignity through the continuity of care.
Derek Carver. Derek completed his practice experience with La Cocina, working directly with food entrepreneurs from underserved communities to expand their business, develop growth strategies, and support operations. GPP reshaped how he thinks about impact, grounding in community, and consistency. It shaped his time at Berkeley and continues to guide his commitment to supporting underrepresented entrepreneurs across campus and beyond.
Yesenia Casillas Rios. Yesenia served as a volunteer and community member for Acta Non Verba and Black Thumb Farm, addressing the community's social needs to improve public access to green spaces in West Oakland and Panorama City, California, for healthier living. She will always be grateful to have listened to everyone's stories and motivations to do what they do. She will also miss being part of conversations as acts of resistance to not ignore what is going on in our society. It was a privilege to be in a classroom full of people that care.
Simran Lakhani. Ooh, girl, go girl. Okay. Simran completed her practice experience with the Berkeley Student Food Collective, supporting access to affordable vegetarian and sustainably sourced foods while helping address food insecurity within the broader Berkeley community. GPP taught her that real change means holding both care and critique and meeting immediate needs while questioning the system that created them. She hopes to keep building community-centered solutions that don't just help people get by, but can truly change the conditions that they live in.
Hannah Medkor. Hannah served as an academic tutor and mentor in the Berkeley High School Bridge program, supporting students with coursework, college applications, study skills, and personal development while assisting staff with program coordination and student progress tracking. Through GPP, she learned how this support considered a privilege many students don't have. She's committed to helping students recognize this while also trying to challenge systems so that this level of support becomes a standard for everyone one day. She will always check up and be connected to her PE.
Shravani Lohani Kunal. Shravani served as an intern at the UCSF Better Lab, designing an app that addresses the social determinants of health for traumatic injury survivors in San Francisco. Through all the reading, writing, and talking about difficult issues in poverty alleviation, she has truly grown during her time completing the GPP minor. She will miss the lovely community of thoughtful and passionate people here, asking important questions and really pushing her to identify her role in making the world a better place.
Mohammed Ibrahim Bakar. Mohammed completed his practice experience as an intern with the World Bank, working on water, sanitation, and hygiene in Papua New Guinea. Mohammed has had his entire view of society, inequality, and development changed by the minor, and he hopes to carry these teachings forward as he refined his theory of change.
Amy Alejandra Villa Gutierrez. Amy served as a legal assistant for the International Rescue Committee's immigration team, where she helped address the legal needs of the immigrant and refugee community in Oakland, California. Something she will miss from GPP is the conversations with peers and professors during class. She's very grateful for the knowledge she gained during her time in the minor, and most of all, for the academic excitement and curiosity that the people in the program inspire.
Ainsley Catherine Porter. Ainsley completed her practice experience with Child Family Health International in Cape Coast, Ghana. She spent her time supporting public health initiatives and working with local staff and rural healthcare clinics to strengthen health outcomes. Looking ahead, she says, "It's the transformative moments from this minor that will stay with us most. We challenged ourselves and committed to service in pursuit of a better world. GPP has shaped our purpose and drive. And Ainsley will always value the incredible people she met with GPP."
Congratulations to the GPP minor, class of 2026.
I'm short, like Professor Shahabuddin. It's good, yeah? It is my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, GPP alumnus, class of 2010, Esteban Tinoco. Esteban grew up in Ecuador. When he was a schoolboy, he dreamed of being an architect until his senior year in high school when he took a class on globalization. This began a journey for Esteban, a journey of understanding the global economy, how it shapes our lives, and what people can do to shape it. Esteban left Ecuador and moved to California for college, transferring to UC Berkeley as an economics major. In the first weeks of his first semester, he learned about the political economy major and the global poverty and practice minor. Right away, he changed his major and declared the GPP minor because beyond the numbers and equations, what Esteban really cared about was economic systems and development in Latin America and in the rest of the world. With this combination of political economy and global poverty and practice, he found his home on campus. The GPP minor awarded Esteban a travel fellowship for the summer of his junior year. This allowed him to travel to Cochabamba, Bolivia, where he worked with a microfinance organization. The following year, he graduated from UC Berkeley and opted for more school. He went on to earn not one but 2 master's degrees in economic policy and political economy at Sciences Po and the London School of Economics and Political Science. With his master's degrees, Esteban has lived in different countries as an economist focused on social impact and sustainability. His first jobs were with the Ecuadorian government. He worked with them for 2 years. Then he joined the International Cocoa Organization based in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. He worked in Abidjan for 5 years, leading research and analysis on sustainable cocoa production and making policy recommendations for the 51 member countries. This places him in Côte d'Ivoire during the years of the pandemic, I just happened to note. In 2022, Esteban returned to California to join Fair Trade USA here in Oakland. He worked with them for 4 years. Only last month, April 2026, he moved to another Bay Area company, a company you all know, a company that makes electric cars, a company by the name of Tesla. Esteban now holds the title of Senior Supplier Sustainability Risk Program Manager at Tesla. And today we may hear what that means. And if not, then let's be sure to ask him at the reception afterwards. Esteban, we are so happy to have you with us today. Please join me in welcoming our GPP alumnus, Esteban Tinoco. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Professor Claire, for that kind introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Esteban Tinoco. As Professor Claire mentioned, I graduated back in 2010, political economy, and a minor in global poverty and practice. And despite the fact that it's been 16 years already, I've always kind of had a special appreciation for the minor. I was just thinking that I've remained much more connected to the minor than to my major. And so really being here feels very special to me. So thank you for letting me be a part of your experience. Again, I graduated 16 years ago, but I still remember very well my graduation day, especially how I felt at the moment. Sure, I was very happy, excited, but also was nervous and anxious about what comes next. I didn't have much of a plan. And I graduated right after the financial crisis, so the economy was still a mess. There was an air of anxiety and uncertainty around, which I'm sure I don't have to explain that much to you all, given the current moments. But what I do want to share is just how consequential many of the lessons and the perspectives that I learned here at the minor were for my career and how it turned out. So I know Professor Claire did a little glimpse into my very random and at times chaotic career trajectory. I just kind of want to highlight as well how much of those decisions and how much my career was shaped with the experiences that I got from the minor. So as Professor Claire mentioned, I returned to Ecuador. I first worked for a year as in a think tank on government transparency. I then found an opportunity to actually do some voluntary work in Palestine, in the West Bank, focusing on human rights. And, a bit hesitant of doing a voluntary work there. All of a sudden, I kind of find myself navigating realities that I have never expected to have to navigate. They're so complex to just beginning to understand. And so that's what led me back to school, to try to understand it. So as it was mentioned, I did political economy again and economic development. After that, I decided to go back to Ecuador and work for the public sector. Why not? And I work on international trade, and also I work in monitoring development projects across the country. I lasted in the public sector for 2 years until I burned out, of course. I took 6 months off just to recover. And then, with some luck, good timing, and I did a lot of networking, I found that job in Ivory Coast. Did I know anything about cocoa at the time? Absolutely not. They hired me because of my econ background, and believe it or not, because of my experience in the public sector in Ecuador. And they really told me, the cocoa part, you will learn it very quickly. And so really, without intending, I ended up spending 5 years very deeply involved in sustainability and the cocoa space. And after that, I moved back to Auckland, working for fair trade, and currently at Tesla. I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't want to spend so much time on that right now. And so as you see, it's clearly not a straight path of a career. There was a lot of trial and error, a lot of seemingly random decisions. And yet somehow when I made those decisions, they all kind of felt that they were the right decision for me at that time, that they were the right decisions for my career progression. And as I mentioned, much of that was possible because of what I got out of the minor. Sure, my major and grad school taught me a lot of the technical knowledge and skills in my field, but I feel like the minor actually gave me a framework for understanding and engaging with the complexities of the world. I'm sure you understand that as well. A framework to kind of know how to interact and how to engage in the best way possible with people from other countries, from other cultures, with different perspectives, experiences, and even with different interests than yours. It really pushed me to think critically about systems, institutions, inequality. I know we've been talking for a while about that already. And what was my role within those systems and those institutions? It really kind of prepared me to be able to approach those new experiences with a sense of humility. To be able to sit surrounded by all these contradictions without immediately needing to resolve them or thinking that I could, resolve them in the first place. And it also helped me to understand that while I could now, after the minor, I was able to see and criticize all the injustices in the world, I could also choose to engage with it, to choose to care and to choose to participate in any way that I was able to. So I think those perspectives and those understandings really shape every stage of my career. For example, when I was working in Palestine, it shaped how I saw my work there, like what it meant to do volunteer work in a war zone, what it says about my privilege, to be able to go in and out and then come back to my regular life, right? It shaped how I navigated public institutions and politicians in Ecuador, how I understood the reality of cocoa-producing communities in West Africa, and how I even think today about sustainability and global supply chains and the role of Tesla. I also think that this is especially important to remember today, as you leave Berkeley and whatever comes next to you, either you have a very detailed plan or you have absolutely no idea, which it was my case. I think you kind of need to trust that the perspectives and that the values that you have developed here with the minor will guide you to make the right decisions for you, for the communities, for the places that you're working at, or at least make well-informed decisions, and also to take opportunities that you wouldn't have taken otherwise, and to have opportunities that you wouldn't have otherwise. Meaningful careers don't necessarily are built through perfect planning, and this is kind of where the minor really helped me. My career was built very progressively, a lot of experiences, relationships, lots of mistakes, unexpected opportunities, but I think underneath all that, I had really developed a clear sense of ideas and values that continue to guide me, even when kind of the path that I was taking was unclear at the time. And so I really, not much to say, just trust your decisions. Don't be afraid of exploring new and potentially controversial opportunities. Because at the end of the day, whatever path you choose, just remember that the minor gave you really important tools to help you kind of understand and navigate all that noise that you're going to hear. So I wish you good luck and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Esteban. So class of 2026, Global Poverty in Practice, congratulations. Now you are officially graduates of this minor. We appreciate all that you've put into this program, and you're now joining a group of over 1,200 alumni. So we really hope that you'll continue to stay in touch with us and to support each other as you all are navigating the next steps in your lives. This concludes our ceremony. So what we're going to do is have the graduates come outside. There's some stairs outside where we're going to take a group photo. All the photos that we've taken today and a recording of the ceremony will be shared out with you for free. So we're a little bit different from the rest of the campus in a lot of respects, as you can see. And so for all the guests, you're welcome. We have a reception outside, so we have some food, a chance to just get together as a community here and meet more informally. So thank you all, and we'll see you outside.